Just under 2 years ago, I moved from Chicago to South Florida. It was one of the major adult choices I've made in my life, to just uproot myself and go to a place that I really wanted to be. I had always wanted to live in South Florida. I love the palm trees, I love the ocean. The sensibilities are just really consistent with who I think I am and how it is that I want to live my life on a day-to-day basis, and also how I wanted to raise my son. Coming here, though, was pretty scary. It was pretty intimidating. Thankfully, I had a friend who was already here who helped me get connected and helped me get the lay of the land. I met a couple of other friends who have really been amazing to help me really feel like I have a solid foundation as far as friendships and circle of acquaintances here. And then something really special happened. I met this amazing group of women who live really close to me and who have children right around the same age as my own child, and who are funny and outgoing and caring and kind and generous. And did I say funny? And did I say generous? And non-judgmental. And we are absolutely able to just bring our full selves, and we are incredibly different from each other all the time to every kind of engagement. Fortunately, I had established enough of a relationship within this group that when COVID outbreak really started and we started to understand the ramifications, we were able to come together with the guidance and some major support from one of the members of our friendship circle, who's a healthcare worker. And we have been working nonstop day and night for weeks, creating masks and face shields and collecting donations and purchasing supplies so that we can make sure that everybody who can make masks or create face shields is able to be productive in producing. And then we also have been getting them to healthcare workers, and then more recently to people who are homeless in our communities. That's been such an amazing experience. It was a really great opportunity for us to feel a sense of productivity and a way to feel like we are meaningfully engaged and useful during these times. I mean, we're exhausted. Everybody's exhausted. I don't know about you, I'm exhausted. But doing this, kind of holding on by the skin of our teeth when we just didn't have enough energy, or we couldn't figure out where to get supplies, or no one knew who had a sewing machine, to try to figure out how to do this right now, right when it was needed, was something that we were able to do together, and also in a way that made each of us feel really connected to the world that seems like it's spinning out of control, in a way that also allowed us to feel like we're taking back some of that control, like we're contributing in some way that we find meaningful by our definition of success. And all of us contributed differently. For example, I never sewed a stitch. I don't know how to sew. My job was to help keep up with the blog posts and to maybe do a little bit of communication here and there. Now, here's the ironic part. Most of the people in this friendship circle have either their first language as Spanish or as Portuguese. I am the only person in our whole group who only speaks English, and I was the person who was responsible for communication. Not all of the communication, but I definitely had some expectation of myself, and also I put myself out there to say, I'm really good at this, I'm gonna play this role. Now, all of this stuff that I'm feeling so good about, us being able to do something that we find meaningful, but also to kind of reinforce our friendship and really support each other, and to be there together doing this. And all of a sudden, about halfway through this experience that we're still living through, of course, I realized that my head was filling up all the times with the same should. I should have learned to speak Spanish. All these years I've been on the road, I've had thousands, if not 100,000 miles on planes. I could have been teaching myself to speak Spanish. I could have been proficient by now. Heck, I could have been proficient in Spanish and Portuguese by now. What was I thinking? Why didn't I do it? I knew I should have done it earlier. I shouldn't have waited until just now, just all of a sudden realize that only speaking one language is not going to help me survive and flourish in South Florida, right? I'm inviting you to think about your shoulds. This video is an invitation for all of us to take this time where the world is kind of upside down, it's filled with uncertainty, There are a lot of aspects of our lives that are temporarily on pause. A lot of us are still working. A lot of us still have, and sometimes even heightened expectations for doing things, right? For childcare, for caring for family members, for community outreach efforts, for work, right? For actually doing our real work and also communicating and strategizing for the future. Well, a lot of us are really, really busy, but I want you, and I'm inviting you to think about this time right here, right now, as an opportunity to not sit on those shoulds. What are some of the things that you should be doing right now, that you should be taking advantage of during this time, where you're not commuting or running around from activity to activity, or your days aren't filled with the same sorts of stressors that were in the past and probably are going to be in your future? What are some of the things that you should build into your life right now so that through this experience and also coming out of the other side of it, you look back in the rearview mirror and you feel proud, a sense of satisfaction about something that you knew you should have done, and oh, by the way, you actually did it. Now, your shoulds are not my shoulds. Don't cheat off your neighbor, your own paper. That's where we keep our eyes. What are your shoulds that you're sitting on, right? That you should do and that you really want to actually be motivated to do and that take that first step to do. What are they? And I encourage you now, I actually challenge you now to think about dusting off that list of shoulds, right? Getting up off of that pile, that mountain of shoulds, and making some commitment about how it is that you are going to act on those shoulds so that they don't become regrets in the rearview mirror. And that also you start to harness some control over your life, and you start to think about your agency in the midst of this crisis where so many of us feel a sense of loss of control or limited control. What are the areas of your life that you can take control over? It can be anything. It can be the ways in which you express gratitude to yourself or to your family or to your colleagues or to your friends. It can be that exercise routine that you know you have a free app that is available for 6 more weeks that you could absolutely, heck, you should absolutely be getting on it even for 20 minutes a day. Maybe it's that new diet or cutting certain things out of your diet that you've been saying, I should do this for a long time. Maybe now you can sit still long enough or not have to be kind of worried about being out and about and commuting and all of that while you're also trying to figure out how to feed yourself, right? Figure out what it is that you really could and should be doing right now to take advantage of this experience. And I invite you, I challenge you to get off that list of shoulds and to actually make them happen right now. All right, I'm gonna keep working on my shoulds. I have a big old list and I invite you to do the same. And I invite you to share some of those shoulds along the way and make it a fun little tongue twister as you share it with your family and friends. All right, my friends, be well.